So I'm gonna jump forward to Guardians of Godalkin because I think I understood what happened in this season finale. So, Will, what did you think about this season finale?
Okay, season finale for Gen V. I had this well, you said it earlier tonight. It's probably the best season of one of the best seasons of television this year because it went into it with very well, really no expectations and was pleasantly surprised, and I just love how they blended the two shows of Gen V and The Boys together into a very very cohesive story, and one that it was a nice handoff where they complemented each other instead of contradicting or competing against one another.
Mm-hmm. So there was news that came out about Gen V and the boys, actually the boys specifically, after this finale aired, and it was that the next season of the boys will take place only a few days after the events of the Gen V finale. And then my question is, for people who are sleeping on Gen V, do you think they have to watch this season of Gen V in order to understand what's going on with the boys?
Yeah, I think so because I think they're. I mean, well, I guess it depends on how much.
Right? It
Yeah,
depends.
it depends because there
Because
were. I mean, yeah,
I don't think you have to have watched the boys
no,
to understand a lot about this season.
true.
Granted, Shetty's reason for going after the soups is might be a little bit lost on you, where it might not hit as hard. You might
Yeah,
not fully understand what it means when they give us a Homelander cameo. Are you fucking?
yeah,
I like could not believe it, and oh my god, the cameo. Like
yeah.
I feel as though we were talking early on this season, or maybe even when the first trailer dropped, and I'm pretty sure I said at one point, well, it's not like they're gonna give us a Homelander cameo. They did. And then there was this random mid-credit scene with Butcher. So it's just like, okay, I
Yeah,
get it. The
yeah,
kids are away and the adults are coming. Got it. Even
yeah,
though this is a very adult show that just features young adults, please do not
yeah.
have your children watch this show.
So yeah. So to answer your question, and now that I've had time to think about it, no, I don't think you need to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Which,
um,
but
but
you'll want to. You should
yeah,
want to.
but that's gonna be the next point, which is it will to really fully appreciate the all the dynamics going on in Gen V. It will help to go back and watch watch the first three seasons of The Boys in particular. I think with the characters, with the cameos that they had in Gen V with Newman, Homelander, and Butcher, because um, especially with the overall thing that Shetty was trying to, with her developing the virus,
Mm-hmm.
and how now that Newman has the virus, and of course Butcher clearly Shetty was, whenever Shetty went to talk to Monroe,
Yeah.
and that was a clear reference to Butcher without naming his name whenever they were talking about people who would be willing to use this particular this MacGuffin to take out the soups. So I think it just to your point, it, like as you said, it adds texture to the overall story and the lore. But yeah, so I think so. Like any good spinoff, it should be able. The show stands on its own without having to be propped up by the boys. But you'll just appreciate it more if you've watched the boys.
Right, right, definitely. And I'm just gonna go back to the best scene in this episode, the ending, because I we could start at the very beginning of this episode, but like it all I still can't get over the ending. I just think it's perfect about how we have Kate on this rampage along with Sam, and it's chaos on campus. People are dying, like humans are dying, and then also we have the Guardians of Godolphin, Marie and friends, trying to stop all the chaos and trying to prevent the humans from dying. And during it, we continue to see growth in Marie's powers, and Jordan is at risk, and but they make it out of this predicament, and then you see in like such a brilliant shot about Kate coming forward and almost touching Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, I will admit I was worried too. I was like, no. And then, but I did not expect for in that moment for Marie to literally like pop Kate's arm off, which we should have, considering she kind of blew up a dick earlier on in the season. So,
Sure.
like, and she kind of like blew up her parents' like throats and stuff. So the girl spontaneously will combust people when she feels threatened or someone she loves feels is threatened. But I just like how it's like this slow-mo shot and very quiet, and then the arm explodes and all you hear is Kate scream.
Oh
And
God,
it's just like this, it almost snaps us back to reality, and the next thing we know there's Homelander, and he's like, what kind of animal are you? The kind that turns on its own kind. Like, oh my God, Will.
yeah, that's so rich coming from Homelander, right?
But it's brilliant because
Yeah.
then he uses his powers on Marie, and
Mhm.
we don't really understand, or at least I don't understand how she survived that, but whatever. And we next get a newscast talking about the Guardians of Godolphin, Sam and Kate. Which at that point I was like, yes, that is how you end the season. That
Mhm.
is so clever, perfect. Like, can't wait for the boys next season. I need a break from this show because it just
Yeah.
blew my mind.
Yeah.
And then, like, oh my God, it was so good.
Yeah. Yeah. I had to like. I know you were like delayed watching it because I watched it Thursday because I was like, I just can't wait. And as soon as it ended, I was just like, dang it. I just, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was one of the best finales I've seen in a long time, and it really did pull everything together. Like I don't want to, be the whole horse about what happened there at the end, other than with Homelander. The thing that really got me with him um, was with the whole animal line was one, like I said, it's like, really, I mean, you're the man who like has murdered soups yourself,
Mm-hmm.
or try to, and but also really gets into that whole like the whole supremacy thing
Yep.
that they really set
Yeah.
up earlier, with the prior with penultimate episode, when Newman was on campus, and also we've seen that superiority grow in Homelander from over time, as far as this, it was always there, but now he's just open with it, where he literally, not to take it into real world politics or whatever, but like where we've had candidates for various offices say they could like kill someone in Times Square and get away with it. Homelander will probably get away with murder, because he is on trial right now, as they did tell us earlier in the season, for the events that happened at the end of season 3 in The Boys.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but but even but again, he's he is on trial, but so he technically probably shouldn't be like flying around doing stuff because he should be like being held. But no, he's out there, actually made the call to bring him in. So, so there was just so many nice moments, with that, and then thinking to what we talked about last week with the Guardians of Godolphin and how the show really gets into media narratives and how media can manipulate things and messaging and you know when you look at the true Guardians of Godolphin there who saved the day. I mean, we had two kids of color, we had a bi gender person and a female, young woman, as far as Emma, all and then of course and we talked about how, like, with Newman and Marie, with the whole the, I guess, the
Right, right. Kate and
superiority.
Sam
Yeah,
are both white, and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so you
yeah.
had that aspect of it too. So I mean, there's just so many levels to it. And so so again, they just really, um, yeah, I love how the show just like takes topical things and just makes them like super entertaining, but also like, oh yeah, I see what you guys are doing there,
Yeah,
and
and
it's
that's
really
the
pointing.
key.
Yeah,
It's super entertaining, and it catches you off guard
yeah,
because I was thinking a lot more than I should have been while watching Loki. So it
hmm
wasn't as entertaining as maybe previous episodes have been. But when I was watching this episode, I was just watching it and I was just like, "Oh my God, I can't believe they're doing that. Now they're doing this." And I wasn't thinking about, like, obviously Marie's gonna stop it, but because of just how they had the scene play out, I honestly did think Kate was gonna do something to Jordan, and that would be the sacrifice at the end of the season. Um, be, but that's not what happened. And
no,
to go back to your point about the whole media narrative spin, it's that Guardians of Godolphin has actually been a lie since the beginning of the season,
yeah,
because Marie and
mhm,
Andre are named the Guardians of Godolphin at the beginning of the season, but they didn't stop Golden Boy. Technically, Golden Boy stopped himself. He did
yep,
kill himself. And Jordan was the only one who really squared off with him.
hmm
So the fact that Andre and Marie even were tied to that
yep,
um, that title
hmm
was just foreshadowing how the title will get used by the end of the season.
yep,
Um, and to go back to your point with, like, the fact that Ashley, even despite what's happening in this universe with Homelander, that's her go-to, and he does technically resolve the conflict that's occurring on campus,
hmm
which is a nightmare. And that's where this show does such a great job, because these are kids, these are young
yeah,
adults, these
yeah,
are kids who have been tortured for years. Of course, they're going to want a little vengeance. Granted, killing innocent people, not the best way to go about it. Okay?
no,
I don't know. Maybe go after Vought, but whatever. And so, like, I really appreciate the work they did with Sam and Kate in particular, to make them have that Homelander,
hmm
because Kate still loves Andre. I believe that. I
yeah,
really do.
I do too. I do too.
And I also know, and we all know, that Sam loves Emma.
hmm
And so that's going to be used next season to help the team get out, for sure. I really do. And that's something that makes them unique to Homelander, who still loves nothing but himself, okay? Loves nothing but himself. Maybe his son, like on a good day.
Yeah.
Maybe not when his son suddenly gets more attention than him. Man has issues. But there's more humanity there, and especially because of how we were introduced to them. And we understand, especially with Sam, the torture he's gone through. Like, it makes sense for him to have it actually makes more sense for him to be angry at Vought than arguably Homelander's whole situation, just because we didn't see as much of like Homelander's childhood of being potentially tortured. We've only seen a few scenes of different things. So anyways, my point being, like, it's kind of remarkable for them to do that with those two characters
Yeah.
Over the course of 8 episodes.
Yeah. I want to mention, you brought up about Sam and Kate's humanity, and and I wonder how much humanity is left with Sam, though, because
He's still seeing his brother.
well, but he,
Yeah.
yeah, to a point. But then he did want Kate to take it away. So I guess, yeah. So I guess he does still have some humanity left, because since because the puppets transformed, he stopped seeing puppets who were originally his conscious to then to seeing his brother.
Mm-hmm.
And and because he also, you're right, on some fundamental level, he knew that what was going on was wrong, and so that's why I guess he wanted Kate to take the pain, take it away, so he could just basically be a killing machine and not deal with the consequences of that. So I think for me, I see the humanity there with Sam. I don't know if I still see it there as much with Kate.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right. I mean,
yeah. She definitely is more gone than him, which is kind of surprising. But there's moments throughout the episode, whether it's Andre and her, or even her and Marie, because Marie is trying to tell her, like, they want me to kill you. I'm not going to do that. Blah, blah, blah. And yet it's not like Kate's immediately reaching to grab onto Marie. Like, she at no point, she is in close contact with a lot of her friends who throughout the episode, and she doesn't really go after them necessarily, like to try to get them to do what they want. I mean, she even asks Sam, like, tell me this is okay, because I'm not going to do it otherwise.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's humanity so much as those are still her friends. I mean, there's a lot of history there, as we learned in previous weeks, especially between her and Andre, her and Jordan, and her and Sam. Yeah. So I don't know if it's humanity so much as, like, those are still her oldest friends.
Yeah. Maybe it's just that familiarity. I mean, I guess it is still humanity. I mean, I think that's fair to say. I mean, that and that's keeping her from completely going completely off the deep end. And also, again, I think her motivations. I think her motivations are more. Yes, she is upset with what Shetty did to her, and the betrayal and the manipulation that was done. But she also makes, she can still see that Shetty is a victim of the larger evil, which is Vought.
Right.
And everyone, all of them are all victims of Vought, and she even points it out. Look, we're all just product to them.
Yeah. Towards the end of the episode, based on how she was responding to Marie's pleas, I had it in my head, she wants to die. Mm-hmm. She wants to get killed during this.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't want to go past it, because she's like, I'm going to get my vengeance, and then what's the point? Because my friends are never going to trust me again. I'm losing the love of my life. Mm-hmm. And I did some really fucked up shit.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know why I feel this way about that character, but I think that there is something with her where I think her goal was to um, free the woods
Hmm.
and allow them, those who were tortured like her,
Hmm.
um, to get their vengeance, and then for her in the course of it to get killed.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I mean, not to, I mean, just to reference a disclaimer at the beginning of the episode. I mean, where they do say, look, this is violent acts on a school campus, and when you see some of these types of situations, you do try to have people do the suicide by cop by after doing crazy violent things, and not, and I think it was kind of that mentality that she had there, that she was like, I'm not coming out of this.
Yeah. Yeah, because even if I do, then what? And now, ironically, if what you're saying about how she understands that Vought's the real nemesis here
Mhm.
is true, it'll be interesting with next season because her and Sam are going to be Vought's puppets now.
Yep.
Like they're the guardians of Godolkin, and while at the same time their friends are locked up in this cage.
Yeah.
So um it'll be interesting to learn about how this how the tables will turn next season,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
but yeah, we also learn in this episode, to go back to Andre real
Yeah.
quick.
Hmm.
His father, it sounds like it's hereditary. What we saw his father go through, it's it's a result of using his powers.
Hmm.
It's literally causing brain damage,
Yep.
and it seems it was implied that Andre is experiencing the same thing with the use of his own powers.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
And it is also because I guess Andre is his first generation soup, and so we're starting to see, I guess, the breakdown of, I guess, even though they're soups and have been enhanced and all that, they still are susceptible to side effects from the compound V. And we saw this even too with not Andre, with A Train and the boys. Where his abilities was, causing him to have a, cardiac arrest. So,
right. You
yeah,
know
so
what'll be interesting then? If they're setting up all these characters who are second generation and having consequences to their powers, what about Homelander's son?
mhm, yeah,
Homelander isn't gonna like that.
he's not gonna like that. Yeah, yeah, he's not gonna like that. I mean, there's just so many different ways I can go with this, because we're seeing, like you said, we're seeing that with Andre and his father, the defects are clearly can be hereditary, get passed down. We've seen it with, we've seen it in A Train and I think in other soups as well, where their
Kate has it.
powers. Hmm?
Kate has it. Like
Yeah,
her,
yeah,
yeah, we almost saw her brain fail and
hmm,
everything.
yeah,
But yeah, I think they're definitely, the way you were talking about it and pointing out all the different versions we've seen, it sounds like a lot of foreshadowing to something being wrong with, and forgive me, I forget his name, but Homelander's son
yeah, yeah,
is not as perfect as he seems to be.
mhm,
Um, Another
yeah,
surprising use of powers that occurred in this episode was with Emma.
mhm,
We get the breakup scene that, again, like a lot of relationships in this show, comes really quickly and then
yeah,
it falls apart. But that being said, how the scene ends is, she ends up getting small without eating or anything, just randomly,
yeah.
yeah,
I guess
without throwing up.
Yeah. I guess it was just real intense emotions. Just really caused that. And they'll, which I think is like Marie learning the different, extents of her powers,
Hmm.
and how, um, and now wasn't so much a self harm thing as just like just really strong emotions caused her to be able to shrink. And I would think
Right.
the other way it could be, and I guess once she learns how to control it, maybe the other way around too. But that whole scene though with Emma and Sam there, it was just tough to watch, because this, the thing about when you care for someone, and Sam, like, is just using words to just cut her down like that, as far as, her not being a hero. It was a very, very tough scene. It's easier to watch the heads explode than that emotional, like, cutting like that.
Yeah, yeah. I see, I have no heart. So for me, it was fascinating to watch because it how the narrative was flipped in
Mhm.
that scene of you didn't come to because he's not wrong, and this is what I
Yeah.
love about these kind of discussions, and that's why it kind of makes you like it's so hard to watch is because you're seeing both sides and in a way he's twisting it
Hmm.
but he's
Hmm.
not technically wrong. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like yeah, she didn't really, it wasn't a selfless act. She wanted to like show off and be cool and use her powers, and it was definitely for selfish reasons, but then again, I think the fact that she fucked you like has to mean something, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and but I think I wonder, we have to remember that as strong as Sam is, he does have a legitimate mental health issue.
He does.
So I also I think that in watching that scene, there was a realization that Emma that her boyfriend is mentally unstable.
Hmm.
And I think the warning signs were there, but she was refusing to acknowledge it until this scene where it's like, no, 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 this is what it's like dating a schizophrenic.
Yeah.
Like he's literally a different person right now and
Hmm.
using all of my truths against me because he can. He's weaponizing everything I tell him because
Yeah.
it's the same person, you're just getting a different side of him who's
Yeah.
dominating the conversation. So it is heartbreaking to watch, but
Yeah.
it's also
Yeah.
very fascinating.
It was. Yeah. And you're right. I mean, that's why it was heartbreaking and difficult. But and there's, um yeah, and it just and also just sort of how it all plays out with the larger story, of Sam and Emma, Sam and Kate, freeing the kids from the woods, and all it, and thinking that they're now Team Homelander as far as the soup superiority. Um, yeah, I mean, it just moving forward is when we go into season two with this show, and the ramifications of that. Where did it go from there? I mean, there's, as far as their relationship and all, if there's any chance of being able to salvage it.
Yeah. Well, I think there's definitely some chances, and I mean, I love that we're walking away from this season. Okay, where are we going to go from here? We have
Hmm.
not a clue in the world,
Yep.
but we are getting the boys next
Yeah.
season
Yeah.
very soon.
Yeah.
So hopefully that will tide us over.
Yeah.
Uh,
All we know is Newman has the virus. Butcher found the woods, and Homelander is Homelander's homelandering.
yeah, Canada. I'm sure our listeners are very, very much anticipating to hear where we both end up putting this show on our list of the top TV shows. that we're going to do later on this year, maybe
Yeah.
early next year. So,
Yeah.
because I would be shocked if you didn't hear the word Gen V come up at least once during that conversation.
Yes.
On that note, Will, why don't you tell our listeners where they can find you?
Yes, you can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Will M Polk, WILLMPOLK.
And you can find me there too at SJ Belmont, SJBLMONT. Please follow our crew on Twitter at Scene and Nerd. Friend us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and threads at scene_n_nerd. And visit our website, www.sceneandnerdpodcast.com. But most importantly, rate, follow, and comment on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Good night, Geek Out. You're welcome.